Roberta McCoy, giving faith and stand in unity with the vision of Perfecting Church of sowing this seed of $1,000 plus $235 and receiving the blessings to come to all that participated.
Now that's only $1,200.
Yes.
Y'all not listening to what I'm saying. If you have 1,000 plus 1,000.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna work on the other 800.
Well, that ain't what I asked you to do.
Shalom. I would like to give all honor, glory, and praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAKAKWIDASH. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim, pushing this word across the four corners of the world. So as you just saw from this opening video, a product of plantation Christianity by the name of Bishop Marvin Winans. And he's been around quite some time, a Jake pastor out of Detroit, Michigan, and he's also a member of the gospel musical group, the Winans. So the last couple of days or so, he has been going viral all on social media of him criticizing a church member of donating $1,200. And by being that greedy dog, of course, he was expecting more. And mind you, within a failing economy at that. And we have seen countless of videos like this over the years, these so-called TV evangelists or false prophets demanding large sums of money from their congregations, having ATMs inside of the churches, and pretty much just saying and doing all type of reprobate things, which is not how a true prophet of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushai will be representing themselves, and more so the Bible within these end times. And a lot of our people within this day of time are coming hip to these type of gimmicks that's coming from these greedy pastors. And a lot of our people are leaving these churches, these harlot houses. And really the only time you will see so-called men of our nation attending these churches, they're following up all behind their women, or being thirsty and trying to seek for a woman, or just a plain Mo playing the piano or singing in the choir. And all of these government-ran churches or harlot houses, again, these products of Christianity, all represent that contaminated water, infested water, that stagnant water, which is totally contrary unto the true living waters of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM Yahushai, via these false pastors spearing out these false doctrines unto their congregations. And that takes me right to Jeremiah 2:13 within the NLT, and that's the New Living Translation. For my people, referring to you biblical Israelites, who are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and more so the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And by our people being entangled into this falsehood of Christianity, you are considered abominable unto YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So again, for my people have done two evil things. They have abandoned me, the fountain of living water. So when you abandon something, that means that you have forsaken it, which means that you are totally lost. Let's get right quick. Jeremiah 50:6. My people, again, referring to you Israelites, have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. And what's the characteristics of a sheep? Beautiful animals, I might add. They're very social. They can be versatile, but they can also be very docile, very gullible, which can have them wandering in harm's way, ultimately unto their demise. So again, my people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. And that goes into these sellout government puppets of our people that call themselves pastors or prophets or shepherds. But in actuality, you're nothing but wolves in sheep's clothing. Because really, in this day of time, who's still falling for these gimmicks that's coming from these harlot houses, aka these churches? Our people, and mainly you Israelite women. And that's why it stayed within 2 Timothy 3:6, how they creep into houses and led captive silly women laden with sins and led away with diverse lusts. Like you're easy to manipulate, just like your foremother Eve within the garden. And the realization of all of this you have to have true Israelite male authority or leadership that's heading you into the right direction, which is the resting place, aka the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So again, my people have been lost sheep that shepherds have caused them to go astray, which means to wander or to be led off track, off course, like you are drifting off, which links up with Isaiah 9:16. For the leaders of this people, again referring to you Israelites, caused them to err, which means to slip up or cause to go in error, aka sin. Did it not say within Romans 6:23, for the wages of sin is death? And it says, they have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. And that mountain to hill represents all these false narratives, falsehoods of Esau, Edom, Roman Catholicism, which birthed all of these denominations of Christianity, Westernization, the American dream, that doest thou wilt spirit, like all of these false narratives, which has been set up by the God of this world, Esau, Edom. In every way that Esau represents, he promotes, he propagates, or he stamps or approves, it's going to be totally contrary unto the true principles and standards of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So they have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place, which is the true knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI via the scriptures, and more so by rightly dividing the scriptures. Did not Yahawashi say within Matthew 11:28, come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest? And take my yoke upon you and learn of me, and how you will find rest unto your souls. Via the Comforter, aka the comfort of the scriptures. So jumping back to Jeremiah 2:13, again within the NLT, for my people have done two evil things. They have abandoned me, the fountain of living water, and they have dug for themselves cracked cisterns, and a cistern is a tank that stores water. So all of these falsehoods I just named previously are all equivalent to broken cisterns. These false doctrines of the current fashion of this world are nothing but infested waters. It's stagnant, contaminated. And where you have the 2/3 of our people still running to those infested and contaminated waters, which is why our people are spiritually dehydrated, which further explains why the 2/3 of our people are classified as the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And a big part of that is by consuming these false doctrines and ways of these set up leaders of our own people, these false prophets. And that takes me right to Jeremiah 12:10. Many pastors went into these false prophets or leaders who upheld themselves within this world as shepherds have destroyed my vineyard, and that's by these false doctrines. According to Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed or ruined by the lack of knowledge, which is by having that true spiritual insight and understanding of the Holy Scriptures. So again, many pastors have destroyed my vineyard. And once you go into the word vineyard, within the blue letter, one of the definitions is stated, a field set with plants of nobler quality, cultivated as a garden or orchid or orchard. So in other words, our people who are still emotionally and spiritually plugged into the false narratives of the current fashion of this world, they're likened unto degenerate plants. And they are not cultivated by having that nobler quality. So therefore they are dim. And it says, they, again referring to these paid government agents of our people, have trodden my portion underfoot. They have made my pleasant portion a desolate wilderness. Yeah, because all of these so-called leaders of our people who try to be in that stead of a pastor or an evangelist or a so-called prophet, they're all set up by the God of this world, Esau, Edom. And these same false leaders are also associated with Freemasonry, which is ultimately Satanism. and they are part of that Boule society. And these same government set up leaders who are all under that 501c3 tax exemption are these same individuals that the vast majority of our people follow and regard as a true prophet of the Most High. And again, that's why the vast majority of our people are biblically classified as the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And that takes me right to Ezekiel 34 verse 1, again within the NLT. And as you can see from the heading, the shepherds of Israel. And it says, "Then this message came to me from the Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, son of man, prophesy against the shepherds, the leaders of Israel. Give them this message from the sovereign Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. What sorrow awaits you shepherds who feed yourselves instead of your flocks? Should not shepherds feed their sheep? And what are these false shepherds, leaders, pastors, or prophets are feeding our people with in this day and time? All on satanic corner ways to prosper within their captivity. And that's whether it's America, aka Babylon the Great, or wherever our people are scattered into across the four corners of the world. Because all of these false prophets all have to follow that satanic curriculum of Esau Edom, again, the god of this world. And while you're within that leadership role and where you should be leading your congregation unto the truth, but it's all about that filthy lucre according to these greedy dogs. Verse 3, you drink the milk, wear the wool, and butcher the best animals, but you let your flocks starve. Again, when you neglect or negate our people from the true ways of Yahawah BaHaShem Yahushai, and that's why Yahawashi is known as the bread of life, the lamb, the fountains of living waters, the word. And Yahawashi referred to the scriptures as honey, milk, wine, the living waters, all of those spiritual nourishments that can feed your spiritual appetite. And once an Israelite truly believe on the testimony of Yahawashi, then therefore he or she will never thirst or hunger again. And for the 2/3 of our people who are not consuming those spiritual nourishments, they are carried away with every wind of doctrine, which goes into these false doctrines and narratives of this world. So therefore they are spiritually famished. Verse 4, you have not taken care of the weak. You have not tended the sick or bound up the injured. You have not gone looking for those who have wandered away and are lost. Again, Jeremiah 50:6, how my people have been lost sheep. Because again, a sheep is very docile, and if they are not properly managed, they can easily get misguided or lost, which will ultimately lead into their demise. Instead, you have ruled them with harshness and cruelty. And that's by these doctrines of error, which entices our people to the wages of sin. Verse 5, so my sheep have been scattered without a shepherd, and they are easy prey for any wild animal. And that could be equivalent to how Esau Edom, again, the god of this world, is going to be like a roaring lion. And this same devil is soon going to come down upon a hypocritical nation, which is the 2/3 of our people, with great wrath. And our people are not spiritually prepared, not spiritually clothed with that special type of clothing, those garments of salvation or that robe of righteousness. They're spiritually dehydrated, spiritually famished. So therefore they are very vulnerable to all the elements Yahawah BaHaShem Yahushai has out there for them. And that's going to be by the various mechanisms of Jacob's trouble, or the hour of temptation, or even be casualties of World War III, or the second death via Yahawashi's second coming. So my sheep have been scattered without a shepherd, and they are easy prey for any wild animal. And it's stated within Isaiah the 52nd chapter about awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments, again, which goes into by being covered with those garments of salvation or the robes of righteousness. But it goes on to say how there should no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean, referring to the 2/3 of our people who are considered as profane, which means that they are outside the temple. You have a lot of our people love to vocalize about they outside. So while you're outside and not spiritually prepared, not knowing what type of critical and perilous times that we're coming into, which means that you are spiritually lacking and you're going to get caught into all the detriments of those divine judgments of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. So you're going to be easy target or easy prey. Verse 6, they have wandered through all the mountains and all the hills across the face of the earth, yet no one has gone to search for them. Verse 7, therefore you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. As surely as I live, says the sovereign Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, you abandoned my flock and left them to be attacked by every wild animal. And though you were my shepherds, you did not search for my sheep when they were lost. You took care of yourselves and left the sheep to starve. Therefore, you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. This is what the sovereign Lord says. I now consider these shepherds my enemies, and I will hold them responsible for what has happened to my flock. I will take away their right to feed the flock, and I will stop them from feeding themselves. I will rescue my flock, referring to the elect of the nation of Israel, from their mouths. The sheep will no longer be their prey. And again, that's referring to the elect of the nation of Israel, who are considered as the Lord Yahawashi's flock. And none of those particular elected sheep can be plucked out of Yahawashi's hand, because they were preordained or predestined by the Heavenly Father Yahawah all from the beginning. So by those lost sheep who are now found and were given that spiritual eye salve, the Holy Spirit, Yahawashi being that true ultimate shepherd, has allowed those particular sheep to follow shepherds or pastors according to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHWASHI's heart or mind or spirit. And that's beginning with our elder apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone on down. As is stated within Jeremiah 3:15, and I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. So that concludes the lesson through the Spirit. Just more proof how these churches, aka these harlot houses, or these products of Christianity, are nothing but set up, government-ran operations, businesses. And their true intent is to continue to compromise you lost sheep of the house of Israel. And these false shepherds are going to have a price to pay by YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHWASHI very soon. So again, Bishop Marvin winans demanding thousands of dollars from his congregation, and one of those church members donated like $1,200. And he criticized and pretty much got upset with that particular church member. And mind you, again, in a failing American economy at that. So at this point in time, if you Israelites cannot still see how these churches are set up to mislead you and have you wondering to your own demise, then I don't know what to tell you. That's all up to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHWASHI. So with that, hopefully you all was edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.